Hi all, welcome to daily current affairs session of New IAS. We'll see the important news pieces of today, that is 3rd November. So we have the contents, following contents you can see. First is Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, then South China Sea, Neutrino Observatory, then Carnot Prize and regular sessions of PQRS and MAP aided program. So we'll move on to the topics. First is Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. The US administration announced the reimposition of all US sanctions on Iran that had been lifted under the 2015 nuclear deal. So the sanctions will cover Iran's shipping, financial and energy sectors. Also, the sanctions will penalize countries that don't stop importing Iranian oil and also foreign companies that do business with blacklisted Iran entities. And countries such as Italy, India, Japan and South Korea, they will receive temporary waivers allowing them to contribute to import Iranian petroleum products for a limited period as long as they enter such imports entirely. Then Iran must meet a list of 12 demands if it wants the sanctions to be lifted. It includes ending support for terrorism, then ending military engagement in Syria and completely halting its nuclear and ballistic missile development. The sanctions also include partial disconnection of Iran from SWIFT. So, SWIFT is the main international financial messaging network. So, we will see the details about SWIFT in the coming slides. Then, we will see some more points about the deal. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, it is an agreement on the nuclear program of Iran reached in Vienna on 14th July 2015. And it is between Iran, the P5+1, that is, the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, China, France, Russia, United Kingdom, United States, plus Germany and the European Union. And it is commonly known as the Iran nuclear deal or the Iran deal. Then under the agreement, Iran agreed to eliminate or reduce its stockpile of uranium, which includes medium enriched uranium, low enriched uranium and gas centrifuges. So for the next 15 years, Iran will only enrich uranium up to 3.67%. Iran also agreed not to build any new heavy water facilities for the same period of time, that is for the next 15 years. Then to monitor and verify Iran's compliance with the agreement, the International Atomic Energy Agency, that is IAEA, it will have regular access to all Iranian nuclear facilities. Then the agreement also provides that in return for abiding by the commitments of the deal, Iran will receive relief from US, European Union and the United Nations Security Council. Now, since we have mentioned about SWIFT, we will just go through some information regarding that. So, what is SWIFT? SWIFT is a Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. It is the world's leading provider of secure financial messaging services. So, it is a cooperative society under Belgian law and it is owned and controlled by its shareholders. So, what it basically does is that it provides a messaging network that financial institutions use to securely transmit information and instructions through a standardized system of codes. The majority of international interbank messages uses the SWIFT network. It should also be noted that the SWIFT does not facilitate funds transfer, rather it sends payment orders. Another information regarding the SWIFT is about CBOS. You can see it is the annual conference hosted by SWIFT specifically aimed at financial services industry. And finally, its headquarters is in Brussels, Belgium. Then we will move on to the next topic of the day, that is South China Sea. South China Sea appeared in news because the US National Security Advisor has commented that China is engaging in a behavior that is troubling a lot of nations in the region, including India and Japan, especially through its belligerent policies on the South China Sea. So you can see in the map the region. We'll see what are the important facts regarding South China Sea. The South China Sea is a marginal sea that is part of the Pacific Ocean. It extends from the Strait of Malacca in the southwest to the Strait of Taiwan in the northeast. You can refer the diagram. Then the countries of the South China Sea are China, Taiwan, Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, Singapore, Cambodia, Thailand and Vietnam. It is also a rich source of hydrocarbons and natural resources. And it is also relevant for global trade reasons, because every year global trade worth more than $5 trillion pass through the sea. Then in recent times, the South China Sea has been a conflict-ridden area due to territorial claims by different countries. Now, please refer the map. You can see that there are two groups of islands in the South China Sea. They are, one is the Parcels Islands in the northwest corner of the sea, and it is claimed by China, Vietnam and Taiwan. And the second group of islands is the Spratly Islands in the southeast corner of the sea, which is again claimed by Taiwan, Vietnam, the Philippines, China and Malaysia. So that's all regarding the news for South China Sea. Now we'll move on to our next topic, which is very important topic, the India-based Neutrino Observatory. It came into news with the National Green Tribunal staying the implementation of the neutrino project in the Theni district. The project site is situated within the eco-sensitive zone of the Madikettan-Shola National Park in Kerala. And because of this, the NGT directed the project to seek approval from the National Board for Wildlife. Now we will see more about the India-based Neutrino Observatory. So, the INO or the India-based Neutrino Observatory is a particle physics research project under construction near Theni, Tamil Nadu. Objective of the project is to primarily study atmospheric neutrinos, and it involves construction of an underground laboratory in a cave at about 1300 meters depth under the Inu Peak and associated surface facilities in Bodhi West Hills. It also needs construction of an iron calorimeter detector for studying neutrinos. Then the project is a multi-institute collaboration and one of the biggest experimental particle physics projects undertaken in India. The Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, it is the nodal institution for the project, and the observatory is to be built jointly with the Department of Atomic Energy and the Department of Science and Technology. So, we have seen what is important regarding the Neutrino Observatory. Now, we will see some points related to neutrinos. What are neutrinos? Neutrinos are actually, they are tiny elementary particles like the electron, but they are not part of the atom. So, as you know, an elementary particle is one which cannot be broken into further smaller particles. Scientific discoveries in the past have found out that there are two more particles similar to the electron, and they are called as the muon and the tau. And each of these three particles, that is the electron, the muon and the tau, each of these three particles have a neutrino partner, and they are called as the electron neutrino, the muon neutrino and the tau neutrino. So, the electron, muon and the tau, they are all negatively charged particles, but all the neutrinos are chargeless or they are neutral and they are almost massless. Then, and the group of these six particles is called as leptons. So, now we will see what are these, where are these neutrinos produced. They are abundantly found in nature. The sun, the stars and the atmosphere produce millions of neutrinos every second. And now regarding the interaction of these particles, the neutrinos interact very less with anything that come in their path. Hence, they can even pass through the earth and come out on the other side. And interaction is something that changes the property of the particle like its speed, direction, etc. And as I said, the neutrinos interact very less and hence they are harmless. Also, neutrinos can be made artificially. They are produced in radioactive decays and in nuclear reactors. Then there is another phenomenon also called as the neutrino oscillation. Neutrinos change from one type to another as they travel, and this conversion is known as a neutrino oscillation. Now we will see some existing neutrino observatories. As you can see here, the existing neutrino observatories are in Japan, Canada, Italy and one in the South Pole. The Super Kamoikante Neutrino Observatory in Japan, the Sudbury Neutrino Observatory in Canada, the Gran Sasso Lab in Italy, and the last one in the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory in the South Pole, which is actually under water. Also, when the project would be completed, the main magnetized iron calorimeter experiment, that is the ICAL experiment, which I mentioned before, at the Indian Neutrino Observatory, it will include the world's largest magnet when the project would be completed. And it will be 4 times larger than the 12,500 ton magnet in the CERN in Geneva, Switzerland. So, that's just a fact. Then, when we look back towards the history of neutrino experiments in India, the Kolar Goldfield mines housed one of the earliest laboratories to study and detect neutrinos. And it was located at a depth of 2000 meters. The first atmospheric neutrinos were detected here in 1965. The laboratory was shut down following the closure of the Kolar gold mines. Then, we will see one more major scientific project upcoming in India, that is LIGO India. The project is a planned advanced gravitational wave observatory to be located in India as part of the worldwide network. It is planned as a collaborative project between a consortium of Indian research institutions and the LIGO Laboratory in the USA, along with its international partners Australia, Germany and the UK. Another term is INDIGO or INDIGO, which is an Indian initiative in gravitational wave observation. It is a consortium of Indian gravitational wave physicists. Then the site selected for the facility is Aunta in Hingoli, Maharashtra. Also, the LIGO India project will be piloted and overseen by the Department of Atomic Energy and the Department of Science and Technology. Now, what are the gravitational waves actually? We will see. The gravitational waves are ripples in the curvature of space-time which propagate as waves traveling outward from the source at the speed of light. They transport energy as gravitational radiation and they pass through matter without interacting with it. The gravitational waves were first predicted in 1916 by Albert Einstein on the basis of his general theory of relativity. And the strongest sources of gravitational waves are among enigmatic objects like in our universe like black holes, supernova, neutron stars and the Big Bang. And the significance of gravitational waves is that they are significant because the information extracted by these transmitted waves, it will help to address unsolved questions and mysteries of physics and astronomy. So that's all regarding the topic. Now we will see some more current affairs capsules. So the first one is Carnot Prize. The Carnot Prize is intended to honor those leading revolutions in energy policy to further progress and prosperity. So the Union Minister of Railways and Coal, he won the University of Pennsylvania Stowe Prize in Energy Policy for his leadership in reforming India's power sector through various initiatives. Then the second news capsule is Tim Berners-Lee. He is a London-based computer scientist who invented the World Wide Web in 1989. So why he found a place in news today is because of his disappointing remarks on current state of the internet following scandals over abuse of personal data and the use of social media to spread hate, etc. So that's all regarding our main news topics. Now we will move on to our PQRS session. So you can see the question here. Consider the following: carbon dioxide, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur. Which of the above is or are the emissions from coal combustion at thermal power plants? The options are 1 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, 1, 2 and 3. So we know that coal is a fossil fuel. And when we burn fossil fuels, the combustion process produces something known as flue gas. The flue gas mainly has components as carbon dioxide, oxides of sulfur, oxides of nitrogen, water vapor, etc. So here, carbon dioxide of course is a right option. Again, oxides of sulfur is also right and oxides of nitrogen is also right. So the answer would be 1, 2 and 3, that is option D. So now let's move on to our final part of today's session. That is MAP aided program. For that we have Barbados. You can see here in the map, Barbados is an island nation in the Caribbean region of North America. It is surrounded completely by the Atlantic Ocean. It belongs to Lesser Antilles. Greater Antilles and Lesser Antilles are two groups of islands. Greater Antilles includes the grouping of larger islands in the Caribbean Sea. It includes Cuba, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Cayman Islands, etc. Also, it constitutes almost 90% of the landmass of the West Indies. And Lesser Antilles includes the smaller islands. We were talking about Barbados. Let's come back. It is situated in the western area of North Atlantic, as you can see in the map. Capital city is Bridgetown and its garrison is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Why we are discussing Barbados is because a Union Minister of State for Law, Justice and Corporate Affairs, he visited Barbados as part of the outreach initiative Brihat Sampark Yojana of the Ministry of External Affairs. So with that, we wind up for today. Thank you so much for listening.